30th of January. You know what they say, 30 days for April, June, and November.
I didn't know they said that, but
Do they?
that's nice to know they do, or they did.
So that means we still got another day this month,
We do.
31.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, so tomorrow's not the first. You did
yeah,
that.
we had
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
discussion and now I'm
yeah.
qualifying it. Today's the 36th episode of Grit and Good News, and we're deep in the heart of the Lone Star State here in Waxahachie, Texas, broadcasting live from our palatial studio in downtown Waxahachie in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. And I am your co-host, Jeff Lynch. We got our man Sam at the board here in our big Kahuna host is my friend and yours, Scott
Thank
Brooks.
you, brother. We are SMU Sammy.
SMU Sammy,
Sammy's
SMU
become he
Sammy.
and his girlfriend have become a big SMU fans, and Sammy's always decked out in his SMU stuff. So thank you for being here. It is a sunny. I know we're gonna get to the
Yeah, yeah.
calendar estimate, but it's a sunny Thursday, and we're grateful for the sunshine. After golly, man, our dogs at about 8 o'clock last night. It was those little chihuahuas, particularly one of them. He does
Ooh,
not like that.
yeah,
Hey Terry,
yeah.
welcome again. Hope you're doing well, bud. Uh, but for rained all night long, and then when I got to work this morning, it was raining. But now it's clear and sunny. I mean, I
And
welcome
I
it.
meant to look at the rain gauge this morning. I kept getting distracted, but they were saying we were going to get about 2.9.
I,
I think
I
we probably did.
I bet we did. I mean, that was
Yeah,
a I can't see it.
yeah.
It was a lot. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. All the reasons in the world to be happy and joyful. It's just one day in what is a life that's a blip on the screen when you think about it,
Hmm.
the grand scheme.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's make sure we enjoy today. And I'm speaking especially to me, myself, and I. All right, tell us about the calendar since it's
Calendar.
that time.
We do this every month, and I don't want to belabor it, but it is a 100-year calendar, and it is based on the cycles of months, and it's unbelievable how you can turn this cotton picking little dial around, and it works. And so now I've put January 30th under the 2025, and of course it does show us to be a Thursday,
Yeah,
and it's always right.
cool.
And as we have discussed before, we won't belabor it too much. Um, we in this 100-year cycle from 1944 to 43, we share a calendar with 2003 this year, 1947 and 1969,
Wow.
and within the year, every year, January and October share their calendars. It's
Yeah.
just funny little calendar math
Things you didn't know.
that I just find fascinating.
Things that make you want to say,
Hmm.
Man, there's so much going on in America today and in the world. We always prepare, do our show prep and that sort of thing. Each show, we don't ever wing it. But today we're gonna maybe take a little bit of a bypass on some of it because of what happened last night. Before we get to that, though, I'm very happy to tell you and thankful to Sammy for all the work he's done. Grit and Good News is now on TikTok. We're not TikTok has different rules than the other platforms. TikTok you have to have 1,000 followers before you can go live, and we really haven't done anything with TikTok until now. And so at some point soon we
And we
will.
can verify our
Yeah,
thousand
yeah,
because many times on this show, this Waxahachie Sun YouTube part
yeah,
produces it, and
yeah.
not always live. And as we know, you don't have to watch this show live. Many people,
Watch it
more
later
people
on.
come back and watch it
Yeah,
after the
we did a
fact.
show the other day at the St. Joe School, as you probably know. We had well over, I'm sure, probably pushing 4,500 viewers then, but 45, 4,400 of those were watching it later. I bet our boy Rhett watched it. But we are now on TikTok. If you want to follow it, well, please search and then follow us. It's Grit, the letter N, Good News. You'll see us there. We will have lots of videos, segments put up. There'll be different topics. Obviously, there'll be different links, that sort of thing. We're gonna add a little bit of flavor to the show from time to time, so that maybe it'll stop somebody that needs to hear the TikTok message that we have and listen to us. But Sammy put that together, did a great job, and we're excited about that.
Our
So
man, our
so go
man.
to Grit in Good News on TikTok. Hit follow, and we'll get to 1,000 hopefully before we know it. So that said, we last night, Sonia and I were watching. I don't mind telling anyone. We watch when there's not sports. We watch our series, our streaming service series, whatever, and we love those things. Right now, we're watching one called Broadchurch on Prime, which is a really good crime mystery kind of thing. And the lead guy in there speaks hard Irish, and my favorite accent in the world is Irish, and he is so good at it. Really enjoy it. But if we're not watching that, we will watch
He might.
our
Is it an accent or maybe it's really an
no,
Irish?
yeah, no, it's his real
Yeah,
accent,
yeah,
but it's an
okay,
accent, but it's
yeah,
his real. He's not
right.
faking it, or whatever. Thank you, bud. This Pops Cap stands for this is an U.S. Open golf hat. So they sell a line of hats and shirts and things for Pops because the final day of the U.S. Open. Do you know why they do that, Jeff?
Tell me more.
Sammy, do you? The final day of the U.S. Open, day four, big day is always on Father's Day.
Oh,
So
that's
they have a
correct.
line of hats. I have other hats that say Pops on it, but it's always the on Father's Day. So they have that line. But thank you, Terry, for that.
We got married the day before Father's Day, so that Father's Day weekend, I always think I can never miss out on my anniversary that much.
Well, yeah. Plus,
Although
but yeah, that.
it's on a set date, and the
Yeah.
U.S. Open varies, but you know what I
Well,
mean.
anyway. So last night we're watching, and the other things we watch are I love. I think Terry. Jesse Waters puts on a really good show on Fox, and then we skip Sean Hannity because Sean Hannity talks too much about Sean Hannity. And then we watch Gutfeld, which if Gutfeld doesn't stop with all the smut, the frat boy kind of connotations, then
Hmm.
I'm done because it's just too much, in my opinion. I'm no prude, but please. But we like those shows. And so last night we were just watching away at around right when Sean Hannity came on at 8, and or just before that, when Jesse was on, they cut into the news, his show, and said there's been a plane crash in Washington D.C. And pardon the personal reference here, but uh, I used to live there and flew into Reagan often, and that airport is right there on the
Potomac,
yeah, on the Potomac, and it is a beautiful part of town. But it's Washington D.C. is not very big in terms of space, and so you got all this stuff going on uh, in a small space, particularly with airplanes flying, and then the helicopter was from a base that's right there in
right?
Virginia. So it's a very, I mean, look at it on TV, and when they showed the helicopter, you could see the helicopter. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but you could see the helicopter headed towards the airplane and then explodes. That may look well, definitely looks more spacious than it actually is. That's a very tight knit area. And so that all came on last night, and listening to other reports of it,
Yeah,
and,
and
and then
when I
Trump.
saw that clip, and I only saw it once today,
Yeah.
it did not sound like what I was hearing last night about the chopper being underneath it,
Well,
and then they couldn't see each other.
yeah. Well, what I think the theory is, I think it's a pretty strong theory, is that if you watch that again, you see the plane that actually got hit is kind of low and level. It's
Yeah,
going in for its
yeah.
landing. There's another plane that's going up that that you can tell because the lights are bigger. It's in front of where the one below it
Hmm.
is. Well, the helicopter was told, ask, can you see the airplane? Can you see flight whatever it was? Can you see it? And the airplane, I mean the helicopter pilot said, yes, I can see it. Well, what they believe is that he
He saw the
saw the
top
other
one.
one. And just as he was saying that, he was headed directly for the plane that it collided with, and which is a
Again, but
tragedy.
it sounds like that was a sideways collision, and everything we were hearing last night was talking about the chopper being below the airplane, and the airplane couldn't see the chopper, and the chopper couldn't see the airplane. Did you remember that chatter last night?
Yeah, but I think
But that
I
was early
yeah,
speculation, you know.
what I think it seems apparent, and a lot of folks are saying, is that when asked, "Can you see that airplane?"
Hmm.
that the helicopter pilot was saying, "Yeah, I can see it. It's right up there. It's going up." He didn't know he was headed straight for one, and
Yeah.
it was a side. It was a side impact,
What was the helicopter doing there? Like
a
what?
training. Yeah.
Over
So here
over
are
the
the
airport?
Was a takeoff.
the plane was landing.
Landing.
The helicopter was, I don't know if it was landing or taking off. It was flying, doing a training
Okay.
mission.
So they're supposed to be there.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
supposed to be there. And I'm sure they're there all the time. Again, I mean, you got to have air traffic controller and be engaged and all that, but
Yeah.
because it's such a small area. But here's the latest. I thought you guys watching would want to know the very latest. This is from about 30 minutes ago. First of all, there were a total of 67 people that have lost their lives tragically. 3 of them were on the helicopter. Three soldiers. That helicopter was from Saint Belvoir. I don't know if that's exactly how. I'm sorry, Fort Belvoir. I don't know if that's how you say it. That's in Virginia. Was on a training flight mission with 3 crew members. There were 64 people on board the plane. It was flight. I don't believe I have that number, but it was a puddle jumper as we who fly.
Right.
When you had to go short. Although you know what, Wichita to DC isn't a short distance, so
No,
that flight.
but it was a regional jet, and that means it's a small group.
Yeah, I don't know
You
how
know,
they. I don't know if that was a full flight or not, but it's. I would say normally the ones I've been on, which have been many over the years, I would guess maybe 70 people can get on those planes, um, something like that. Maybe 60, because there were 64, including the crew. Several of those that were on the plane were from uh, the skating championships, figure skating that actually I saw. I don't watch it unless it's the Olympics, but I saw it on the TV
yeah,
as I was flipping through the other day. That was in Wichita.
yeah.
And I saw just before coming over, they've identified some of those that were of the skating team and their parents and their coaches.
And then
Uh,
there's something I haven't looked up, but I saw it come across about a guy. The people that say I would have been on that
yeah.
flight, except there was a guy like
Did you
that.
see why?
No, I didn't hear
I'll tell
that.
you in just a second. So let me just because I did that's a really incredible story. This is the crash update as of 11:10. So that was an hour ago. Search efforts continue. Again, the Potomac River isn't all that wide. You may remember those of you that are older. There was a crash there in 1992 in January. The plane went into the Potomac right by the bridge. Uh, some people survived it, many didn't, but the cameras were catching people in the water. I mean, it was
Hmm.
it was a pretty remarkable thing to watch. 28 bodies have been recovered as of 8 a.m. this morning. There are no survivors that are expected. It was Eagle Flight 5342 that took off from Wichita last night. Top figure skaters, I've already mentioned that. And flights resumed at Reagan National at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10-hour time this morning. Uh, that plane broke up into 3 pieces, and both the plane
Hmm.
and the helicopter fell into the Potomac.
And I heard it's not very deep there.
Right.
20 is the deepest spots they were talking about.
Hmm.
Um, Eagle is the name of the regional
Right.
carrier. When you go on, you book a flight with American Airlines, and if it's going to be a small one, they'll say regional carrier. Sometimes they'll tell you who it is.
Yeah.
I found this very odd in this morning's Dallas Morning News. There was a column on the right-hand side. I was surprised that they'd had time to get it in, frankly.
Hmm.
It said jet, comma, Army copter uh, crash. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, jet.
Hmm.
You got this big spot, you got this big white space next to it. There was plenty of room to
Put
put
the
to put
Eagle.
a jet.
Yeah.
And they were like sheltering American Airlines
Yeah.
in the headlines because they're based here. And I'm thinking,
Well,
really?
I'm not blaming the Dallas Morning News for this, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Dallas Morning News doesn't have some form of partnership with American Airlines,
I'm sure.
American Airlines Arena, or stadium, whatever.
Wasn't the water cold too?
Yeah,
Very.
the water. I think last night. Well, I don't think last night. Uh, Between 35 and 40 degrees, which
Yeah.
the guy they had on said that a person could last because the colder the water, the slower your heart rate. That he thought somebody could last for an hour, but by then it had already been an hour and a
An
half.
hour or an hour and a half in a life jacket.
Yeah, yeah. When you're
And nobody's in a life jacket under that
yeah.
circumstance.
Yeah.
And I would doubt anybody had a life jacket. Matter of fact,
No.
somebody I was listening this morning, somebody that was on the airplane and I've done this with Sammy flies often too, or has, but Sammy, when they're about to land, I do this with my buddies up in New York. When I'm about to land, I know it's within Wi-Fi range. I'll say we're landing, and so somebody last night on this plane, as it was landing, texted their whoever and said we're about to land,
Oh,
and that
God.
was it. The thing about airplane crashes, this may sound like no kidding, Captain Obvious. But really, when you think about it, uh, almost every plane crash that's ever happened is either going to happen on takeoff or it's going to happen on landing. Planes don't crash when they're flying 35,000 feet in the air unless it's terrorism
Yeah.
or catastrophic. But most of these plane crashes happen when the plane's taking off or landing. And I've often thought about that. Like, you see the ground, and it's like this person last night said, "Oh, we're here," but that's 99% of the plane crashes are going to happen in that time and space. It's kind of eerie. With respect to the young man who, do you want to say something else?
No, I'll come
Okay.
back.
With respect to the story that you will, if you haven't already seen it, that you will see a young man, a skater,
Mhm.
who was in Wichita, had his dog with him. I don't know what kind of dog it was, but he was at the airport, had the dog, going to get on the plane, and this is again a smaller plane, and I guess not only that, the crates that they had available for the plane based on the plane size, the dog was too big. And so the young man was told, you can't take this flight because we don't have a crate big enough to fit your dog. And he was angry. The man was angry. Matter of fact, they showed a text of his or a post of his that says, "Get me out of Wichita," and then some vulgarity. "Get me out of Wichita now." And so what he did, and the other part of the text was, start 14-hour trip. He said, so he didn't, obviously, I'm not going to leave my dog either. So he didn't leave his dog. So he rents a car and shows a picture of him heading out from Wichita to DC. And then his life is spared because of that. But have you guys ever heard of, I don't know what the proper word is, but the guilt syndrome, where you get saved from this, like in
Mhm.
the people that get saved end up
Right.
having real psychological issues. I hope that doesn't happen here. But that's the latest on the crash. Man, I know Trump had his press conference. I think Trump probably, I didn't hear it, but had some things to say that probably cast blame.
Today, the guy from the FAA was saying on the news, on TV, that it had been 16 years since there had been a plane fatality in our country. And as always, when we have any kind of an accident or problem, we diligently work to get to the root cause of it to make sure it never happens again. And
Right.
that's all good. And then he said, and remember this: airplane traffic is the safest form of transportation. And I'm thinking, I'm not quite sure how you get to that
Well,
stat, but
I think it's true
when
that,
I guess you take passenger miles by deaths and divide it
well,
out.
I don't know
They're
if you
good.
take, you take the number of people that fly
Yeah. Okay.
and then say X
Passenger.
percent of them
Yeah.
pass away every year, which is a
Yeah.
very, very, very tiny percentage compared to what percentage of people
In
who die
cars.
in cars
I
or
was wondering
trucks or
about
trains.
rail though.
Yeah, trains. I
I
don't.
was wondering about the rail.
Yeah, I've often said to people who are afraid of flying, it's you got more of a chance of getting hit going to the Sonic and
Yeah,
injured
exactly.
and killed than
Oh,
you
no
do getting
doubt.
on an
No
airplane.
doubt.
Uh, but it's
We're
just
driving to
daunting.
Houston this week and we're taking our lives at risk,
Yep,
literally.
no doubt. So that's the latest on the plane crash. If you will follow any of the news, you can see it there. So, all right. That said, real quick, we were going to use this segment to talk in detail about the Iron Dome. And what's interesting about our show is that we like to talk about things a little more in depth than what you might hear otherwise, particularly with those things that we kind of hear anecdotally. So if you've been paying attention to the news lately, or if you have followed anything about Israel over the years, you have heard about the Iron Dome. So the Iron Dome in Israel it's intangible. You can't, I mean, it's invisible. You can't see it. It's not like the dome of a stadium over a country, but it's the Iron Dome, which is a missile defense system that is very high tech and precise, which is one of the reasons why Israel has stood for so long, and that it's God has vowed to protect Israel. But the Iron Dome has been in Israel for a long, long time. Trump has said recently, since he in his campaign, and more so since he's been in office for a week and 2 days or 3 days, that he's going to build an Iron Dome for America, which I think is good. Jeff asked me earlier, why don't we already have one? And I guess because we've never really never thought that what we see happening in the Middle East, which they're, enemy countries are right next door.
Right.
The United States doesn't have anything but states. I mean, we have Mexico, but Canada, what are they going to do? But I think given the
They got a good
volatility,
Air Force, but they don't hate us.
yeah, yeah. So given the volatility of the world, Trump has said we're going to have one. So instead of trying to touch on it today with limited time, Jeff and I will go share with you some interesting information we've become knowledgeable about because we've studied it for the show, and there are things there that I never knew. I mean, I've heard about the Iron Dome for a long, long time, but there are things associated with the Iron Dome that are fascinating.
But another day, another time.
Yeah, so we'll have that for you on Tuesday. I'll give Sammy some pictures to show you what the dome essentially looks like, although you can't see it, but you'll get a sense of what it means and does. All right, with that, it's now time for Sambo.
Uh,
Uh,
Cancun's.
Mm.
nice lead in, Sammy.
Well, something
Mm.
happened on the screen, but y'all can still see the Cancun's, that good looking guacamole.
Yes.
Cancun's is a great breakfast, lunch, and dinner spot here in Waxahachie. It is located on 77, about 2.5 miles north of 287 on the west side. It has a beautiful building, and like my dad says, it is a merry Tex-Mex, so you have plenty of options to choose from. If you go to the App Store or the Google Play Store, you can download our Down Home app, and if you check the coupon corner, if you spend $20 at Cancun's, you will get a free order of their great sopapillas. Very nice people and a great experience all around. Check out Cancun's.
Yeah, those sopapillas are the bomb. They're good, good. All right. I wrote a column yesterday called A Lion Roars. That lion I'm referring to is Trump. And I've written a number of things over the years about Trump. I've written some about Biden too, but a lot of politicians. I'm no when we endorsed Trump in 2016 while at the Daily Light. Again, I'll tell everyone that we were one of 5 newspapers in America to endorse Trump. I remember writing that endorsement, and in part of it, I said, Trump at that time would not have been our first choice. But given the choices we had, uh, Trump ended up being who we put our money behind, if you will. And of course, he was running against Hillary. There'll be a cold day in hell before I ever vote for Hillary or any Clinton. But the idea was that we felt like Trump was the best option we had at the time and what America needed. So I have liked Trump for a long, long time, but I'm no sycophant in the sense that I don't just
Nice
disregard.
25-cent word. And for those of
Thank
you who
you.
don't know what it is, that is a bootlicker.
Yeah, like a groupie.
Suck up.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Trump, but I recognize that there are some things. I recognize why other people don't like him. And sometimes I cringe and say, I wish you wouldn't have said it that way. Like this morning in that news conference, I didn't hear it, but I was reading about it. He blamed Biden and Buttigieg, and others, and talking about did DEI have something to do with this? Those are the sorts of things that drive me
He was
nuts.
working that hard yesterday
Yeah,
in the Lincoln Riley, and
yeah.
he could
It, it,
he could do well to lay off the past and
yeah.
concentrate on the future.
Well, particularly with a plane crash. I mean,
Or,
the bodies haven't been found yet, and
or the Lincoln Riley.
yeah,
I mean,
we don't need to be throwing that. So all that said, I mean, I recognize the challenges with the Donald Trump, although I do think that God has placed him here and that he's going to lead our country in ways that we have never seen before. That said, I wrote a column yesterday to say these are the nuances, these are the dynamics about Donald Trump that I wish we could capture. And in that, I also said it's similar to what people tried to Moses in Jesus is in the Bible.
mhm.
Uh, Moses. We had King David. I didn't mention him in the piece. Then I mentioned Winston
Churchill,
Churchill,
Lincoln.
and I mentioned Abraham Lincoln's consequential uh, presidents, as it were, or prime ministers. I think Trump fits into that category. So that all said, thoughts on the
Well,
column?
I want to compliment you because we were talking before the show about some of the comments that you've got,
Yeah.
and I think you're getting better at getting a thick skin and and letting it roll off your back and not calling out people particularly.
Well, and then
Uh,
part of what Jeff's referring to is some people went on there and some of the negative comments were Scott's I don't think Scott's in Earth's orbit or this is just weird. And what I've learned to do, and what I hope we all can do before life's over, is that we can translate into our minds what people are actually saying by what they say.
Yeah.
And that is when somebody says, well, I think that's weird. Well, what I think they mean to me is that they don't have a response to it. So the best way to say, well, I don't respond to it is because I think it's weird. I
Right.
don't know what to respond.
Right. So
Anyway,
Scott has a writing style that I've enjoyed over the years, and I think I would say it's like in English, and if they would say they want you to do a little compare and contrast,
yeah.
and you do that a lot in your writing, and some of this uh, give you a flavor of where he's going. His talking about Trump, his very name carries the weight of either profound affection or equally profound disdain. Okay. Um, His words, often blunt and unvarnished, do not soothe, but provoke. To some, they're offensive; to others, they are liberating.
Yeah.
It's both sides of the story. Um, it's a style, but it's a substance. Trump is not merely a creator of change, but a catalyst for it. The fire he kindles is not one of destruction, but of purification, burning away the old stagnation of old ideas and systems. That's just kind of the.
Well, can I? Yeah.
I think you paint a picture of a man that people have varied opinions of, and Lord knows we've been talking about that ever since we've had our show.
Hmm.
Everybody has their own opinion, and we talked a lot and continue to talk about divisiveness, and we hope he heals. It goes back to what we said 2 minutes ago. The less comparing he does of today to how we got here, the better off he would be,
Yeah.
frankly.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Trump
He
can.
doesn't get that
He doesn't get it. If he does get it, there's a disconnect between him getting it in his mouth.
because he's still butthurt over the 8
Yeah.
years before. And,
Yeah. But to that point is what I think we're going to see. Now I could be totally wrong, but note that I said this. I don't think we're going to witness in the next 4 years, even though Trump can't run again,
right.
and he probably wouldn't run again if he could, but there's nothing holding him back. He's got a mandate. He can't run again, so he could do whatever he wants to. Pretty much. I mean, he might be called out on this or that and go to some hearing or whatever, but or Congress oppose him. But by by and large, he can do what he wants. I don't think we're going to see him go after people. We're not going to see him get caught down in the mud and the mire, even though he talks it. And that's what I was referring to with rather than, what did I say? I said purification, not, what was the other thing? I said his goal or his mission is,
One of destruction, but of
yeah.
purification.
So he's not, that's what my point is. I don't think we're going to see him set out to destroy people that tried to destroy him, or like Adam Schiff and Adam Kinzinger, the J6. I mean, the FBI may do some work on him, but I don't think Trump's going to do that. I think he's there to say, you know what, this is dirty, it's nasty. I'm sticking it in the fire to get rid of all that bacteria, and it's going to come out crystal clean. That's what I think he's wanting to do.
And this is so subtle. I'm probably the only one who's noticed this, and I want you to start looking for it. You and all our readers. Traditionally, when you see Donald Trump in a suit, tell me about the tie or ties he wears. What did he always wear?
Well, it's usually red silk,
Red
and
silk,
it's too long.
and it's too long,
Yes.
or blue silk.
Yeah, well, inauguration, he had on one that when you looked at it, it looked purple, but when you look closer, it was red and blue.
And here's the deal. He always wore the solid color.
Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
Melania, did anybody see the Melania Trump official White House photo?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's a black and white. She's wearing a black woman's business suit with pants and a white blouse. And she's got her hands on the table.
Yeah.
And she looks like $1 million. And the caption is, once a model and knowing how to dress.
Yeah.
So we kind of, there was some talk about how much time she's going to spend in Washington, but with Barrett up there in New York, I don't think she's just hanging in.
Right.
They were distant a lot.
Yeah.
Now, she has said, Donald, I want you to upgrade the ties,
Mm.
and I'll personally select them for you.
Yeah.
And I want you to look. They all are still red or blue, but they've got a little check. They got a little pattern.
That was the
They,
inauguration.
yeah. And ever since then, he's doing that. So,
Yeah.
so be looking for that, and don't think that people can't change.
I think you're right about that. I think Melania is well, Trump. Well, Barron's older. I mean, he's 18 now,
Yeah.
and so like with our kids, they can go do their thing and we can do our
Right.
thing. So I think we're going to see her more active. I think she has said, and I took a beating in that first 4 years and since, and I have something to offer, and I'm going to show that showing up at the inauguration the way she looked, and for that and the balls,
At the ball.
and then in this Vogue
Mhm.
cover, she's like,
Pure
try
class.
me.
Pure class.
It's that old what's that FAFO? I don't want to say the actual words, but mess up and find out.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think we're gonna see that happen. Vogue blasted her for that picture on their
Oh,
cover.
they're so snooty.
But I thought it was awesome. I gotta tell you something. You're gonna laugh at this. Sammy will laugh too. But Sonia and I give each other one hall pass, which means we can have a crush
Okay.
on somebody, out in the world, a
Yeah,
celebrity.
me like Lauren Graham in my
Uh,
single
uh,
days. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
celebrity in this
Oh, okay.
case.
Yeah.
So untouchable.
Okay.
Uh, so
And who's yours?
mine. I don't know if I've ever said this to Sonia because I don't know that I've ever declared one. But if I had to declare one, hall pass would probably be Sandra Bullock.
Dad? That's weird.
Is that yours?
That's literally I was about to say that.
What are her initials?
SB. I mean, ask Kennedy. I thought.
Well,
Hey,
Sonia's
that's crazy.
Sonia has two. I'm not sure which one, if she had to make a
Okay.
choice, she would choose from. One of them is all right, all right, all right, Matthew McConaughey,
Okay.
or the dude who stars in Tracker. We only know him by Kevin because that's what he was in This Is Us. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, and
She's
he's got
watching.
his shirt off every once in a while. It looks pretty good without a shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, our house's floors are being put in, so she might not be watching, but I don't know which one she would choose. But the point of my telling,
Yeah.
she believes you have one.
That I have a
Hall pass.
on who?
Melania.
Oh, well, I do. Yeah. Well,
She's-
my wife is equally as big a fan as I am. I don't need a hall pass there. I
Well,
wouldn't want to waste it on one that I'm already tied with my wife.
We need to ask
She
Leah
might not
who
be
her
the
hall
greatest
pass.
first lady of all time, but I'll tell you what, she is the classiest first. Well, Jackie.
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 Was,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll put them there together.
Wonder what Rita's hall pass would be. But your hall pass, according to Sonia, and Sonia said this like last week when you were going on about. She said Jeff's hall pass is Melania, which I thought was funny. But I think Trump, if we can see Trump, even those that dislike me when I talk about Trump or dislike Trump, and plenty hate him. I mean, vehemently hate him. If we could just see him for saying for he's the one to come in and clean it up because it needs cleaned up. And if you're not willing to admit that, then you got your head in the sand and you're not being authentic and honest with yourself or anybody else. If people could just see him, let him do his thing, then you can still dislike him. But if I'm going to dislike somebody, but I know they're going to make my life better, throwing me under the bus. I'm not throwing you on the bus. I think Jeff, you're willing to go with that, right?
Yeah. No, it's all good, hon. All good.
Yeah, but I just think people see Trump for somebody that's going to come in and make life better. It's easier to accept.
Yeah.
All right, Sammy. Sammy's got to
Mr.
work on his
Reuter.
segues into our commercials.
While I get this on,
ADHD.
I wanted to tell a little story. There's a viral video of this news guy on the side of the street, and his mom rolls by, and he's yelling at him like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "Mom, you're holding up traffic. Go." And it's been around. I've seen it multiple times. It's been around for at least a decade. And it came across my Instagram the other day, and the car right behind his mom was a Mr. Reuter van. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's
But
funny.
I love
Mr.
it.
Mr. Reuter is located all over North America, but they're also local here in Waxahachie. This is what you'll expect should you call them. They do residential and commercial work. You are always going to get licensed experts. They're going to arrive on time and keep your house clean with mats and shoe covers. They are friendly to every client. They always provide a price before they start, and they can also remodel your bathroom. You can call at 469-240-3113 or reach them on the web at mrreuter.com facebook.com/Waxahachie.
Very good, Sammy. All right, random thoughts for today.
It's your
You
turn,
ready?
man. Here we go.
Nolan Ryan is and don't argue with me about it, the GOAT of Major League Baseball pitchers of all time.
I could not agree more.
All right, good.
I could not
We need to
agree.
come up with a Nolan Ryan. I mean, we got the Cy Young Award. What about a Nolan Ryan? I mean, do you see where Trump is now? No, what award? They're wanting to change. Oh, somebody said that the Lombardi Trophy, a coach, said that a Lombardi Trophy should be called the Tom Brady Trophy. So anyway, much the same way.
By the way, when you're searching for music the next time, I want you to go to Jerry Jeff Walker's Nolan Ryan song.
Okay, all right.
It's great.
I'll check it out. Jerry Jeff Walker. Jerry Jeff Walker. Okay. All right. The sound of a city at night. The sounds are soothing.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're living in a big city. But even in Waxahachie in the springtime, if you get a chance, just open your windows, let it be quiet, and just listen to the sounds of the city. They are so soothing. Watching your son or daughter, as it were, fall in love is priceless. I'm watching one of them. Well, yeah, one of them.
Isn't it though? Yeah.
It
I'm
is,
with you.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Right, Sam? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right, I
when,
said that right,
when
right?
my wife
Right,
tells
right.
me I'm priceless, you know what I say?
Right.
And you can't put a dollar figure on that.
No, you can't. That's for sure. No, not quite on that. Not on the city, Terry. Is that what you're talking about? Number 4, Trump must do away with the current tax system and rely on tariffs to generate revenue for the government. So one of the topics we're going to have soon is that we're going to go. It sounds boring, but it's not. We'll make sure it's not. But the tax system in America has been around since. Do you know when? Oh, it should be one of our day in history. 1913, February 3rd,
That's what I was going to say.
1913. We started the income tax. Actually, Abraham Lincoln had a form of it in the Civil War. But
It's amazing. We operated as a country for like 140 years.
with no tax system,
Where was the money coming from besides
tariffs.
tariffs?
That's the primary means of revenue for
Wow.
the country.
Wow.
And so why not? And Trump's talking about it. Why not? Why tax our own people out the, you know what?
I hadn't heard this, but it's novel, and
I think Trump's going to do something with the tax code.
Wouldn't fight it.
Number 5, last one, having a close circle of friends is one of God's greatest gifts. And certainly in my life. So I've got Jeff and about 4 other guys that I'd go into battle with that are willing to tell me that I stink, suck, you know, I'm great, whatever, but willing to be real. Uncle Momo's another one. So if you got 4 or 5 people in your circle, you're blessed. All right. So there we go. All righty. He said. So I've been watching these confirmation hearings, and in some ways they are so good because these nominees are smart. Yeah, you're talking about the Tom Brady Trophy. There are a lot of people that say it'd be like somebody saying, "Well, let's have a Saban name of the college championship, Nick Saban Championship." Those in Tuscaloosa are like, "Yes, sir," just like those in New England, "Yes, sir," on Tom Brady. The rest of the world's like, "No way, not Satan." That's what Terry's saying, I think.
Yeah, you got to go with somebody that's been out of it for a little time. We won't belabor.
Yeah, we won't belabor it. But anyway, so I've been watching these hearings, and these nominees are just. I haven't seen any of Tulsi today, but I did watch Kash Patel. Kash Patel is a smart young man, just like Hegseth, and Robert Kennedy's not young, but Robert Kennedy held his own yesterday. He's in another one today. So watching Congress, and I'm about to write a column on Congress, but watching Congress, many of whom have, as we discussed the other day, have been up there for decades. Who wouldn't know TikTok from their own belt buckle, are trying to question these brilliant young people who know more in their little finger than the rest of their body. It's an entertaining in that sense, but watching them like try to act like they have some. I mean, they're voted in to do it, so that you got to give them that. That's their job, is to question these nominees. But these hearings, the question is, are these hearings more about these senators being seen and heard than they are about actually questioning and trying to vet and filter a nominee?
I did not see them on TV. I heard close to 30 minutes on the radio, and my first thought was, these are hearings. These are not court sessions,
Yeah.
although you're under oath in either case. But you see it all the time in a movie or TV or whatever. That lawyer just starts drilling, and then the judge says, uh, "Stop badgering the witness,"
Yeah.
and then he starts going another different direction and says, "Stop leading the witness."
Yeah.
They badger, and then they lead.
Right.
And um, my wife and I are not big fans. I'm going to stop short of the word detest. We don't like the transparency term. Everything needs to be transparent.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. There's all kind of congressional hearings that are closed,
Yeah.
but
They are.
but for whatever reason, these are open. And because they're open, it is just a prime opportunity for grandstanding and for showing off and trying to act like you're the smartest person in the world.
Yeah.
And in addition, the badgering and the leading of the witness is seen so much in this process where they're going to ask a question that takes about 2 minutes to
They
ask.
have 5 minutes to question them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as they're asking this question, it's taking different turns, going different directions, and so yes or no, do you agree with what I've just said? And Kenny is going, yeah, that's really not a yes or no statement. And he goes, no, no, my time is short. Yes or no?
Yeah.
And then Kennedy will give a little stammer. He goes, well, from everything you said, I'll take it as a yes.
Yeah.
What? You have put words in his mouth. You summarized his thought, which he didn't want to give you a yes or no, and now you've declared it's a yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty
You know,
pretty bad.
to that point, which is a great point.
Yeah, this guy.
Macy Hirona. No, you can
Oh,
tell about that
no
one.
no
Macy
no.
Hirona, the moron from Hawaii, questioned Hexeth about, somebody at I can't remember who it was in the Defense Department or FBI said they were going to shoot no, they were going to shoot, and I can't remember the group of people. They were going to shoot. I think it was those who protested in Washington and started messing with that church back in Trump's day, that they were going to shoot them in the legs.
Oh,
And so she asked Hexeth, do you approve of people being shot in the legs in a protest? And he's like, well, of course not, but I want to be able to say this. She said, no, 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 no. Yes or no. Yes or no. And then he doesn't answer the way she wants to. She said, okay,
I'll take that.
I'll literally take that as a yes, that you believe shooting people in the legs is okay.
Yeah.
As if the average idiot, even in America, is going to say, yeah, that's what he meant.
Yeah, tell him that story you were telling me about the Sheldon Whitehouse.
Yeah, so Sheldon Whitehouse is the senator from Rhode Island, and 2 days now, I've never liked him. For 2 days now, at two different hearings with Robert Kennedy Jr. and with Kash Patel today, he has 5 minutes to ask questions. So he starts on his little dog and pony show, not trying to do anything but impress people about how smart, what he doesn't know. He looks like a fool, but he makes these claims, accusations against Kash Patel. And Kash Patel says, Senator, I'd like to just respond to that. And he says, literally, same thing he did to Kennedy. No, this is my time. I'm making a speech. You can respond in writing. And I'm thinking, how freaking arrogant, you punk. So I got a couple things to say. Elizabeth Warren, you're an idiot.
Oh, I heard.
She's an idiot. You're an idiot. Sheldon Whitehouse, you're an idiot. Macy Hirono, you're an idiot times about a multiple of about 10. Blumenthal, who's Mr. Stolen Valor, who said he served in Vietnam, never served a minute in Vietnam. You're a bigger idiot. And I could go on with a few more, but those are my top 4 idiots to stand up there or sit up there and question these people who know far more about defense strategy than they'll ever know. And Warren, Robert Kennedy yesterday, she was asking him, because he had some deal going where if he helped companies sue a pharmaceutical company and they got an award, he would get 10% of it. So that he was getting his fee that way, which is common for lawyers. And so the brilliant Elizabeth Warren questions him yesterday, will you commit to not, for 4 years after not during, and 4 years after. Will you commit to not uh, taking money in those types of deals? And Robert Kennedy's like, you're asking me if I will not participate in suing pharmaceutical companies. And she said, no, I'm not. Gets all wrinkly up, and her fangs start showing. And he is, yes, you are. That's what you're asking me to do. And I'm not going to agree to that. And I'm like, dang right. Um, so these people, that's why we need term limits in this country. Those four and a whole bunch of others. Adam Schiff,
Shiftless.
Swalwell posted this morning on X. I landed at Reagan National last night at 8 o'clock, and blah blah blah, and then says maybe we pray for these people. And I read the comments, and they're like, "We don't care if you landed. This isn't about you, you jerk." It's that kind of stuff. And yet these people get voted in time and time and time again. And I swear, if we had, I mean, we got Cornyn, who I don't particularly like. We've got Cruz, who I do like, but the closest one to us that ranks in the idiot category is Jasmine Crockett, who's in District
Hmm.
30, which represents Cedar Hill and others. She's a blooming moron. How she ever got out of high school or grade school, I'll never know. Don't in a box of rocks. But here they are. So anyway, now I feel better.
Okay.
Okay,
We got
Sammy.
that
Oh
under
no, we're
our
up to
belt.
rhyme time. It's rhyme time. Ode to Rhymin' Simon.
Ode to Ryman Simon. Um, as most of you know who've listened to any of my poems, I do only write rhyming poems. I think the rest of that is just kind of like bleeding heart stuff. And there's all other great forms. I could never think about writing a haiku. Um, but I'm a rhyming guy, and as we all know, the great Paul Simon was nicknamed Rhymin' Simon. And tomorrow I start my second teaching gig. I'm going to be working at Mercy Prep Academy here
Cool.
in
That's
town.
cool.
And then I'm on the docket for Lighthouse of Learning to do a couple adult education classes. If you go to Lighthouse for Learning, you can sign up, get a couple friends to go there. You'll get a book and some good chuckles. And one of my dearest friends in Minnesota continues now to write birthday cards or thank you notes in rhyme form. I said, Joe, you need to really think about writing poetry because you found out that it's not hard to do and it is pleasurable and the people who receive it enjoy it. And that's the thing with rhyming poetry. It really came about. I mean, the heart of it is nursing rhymes. That's
Right.
how kids learn to read, man.
Right.
And it's not that hard to put rhymes together, and it's fun, and sometimes it's pretty good.
Well, I got to tell you this. The other day when we were at the school, and I said to
Yeah,
those boys, I've got my favorite poem.
yeah,
My favorite poem is the rah rah ree, kick him in the knee, rah rah ras, kick him in the other knee.
I love it.
And so I
But you couldn't
found
tell it.
myself,
Yeah,
I said my favorite poem is, and I literally started to say rah, and then I realized this is a
and you
Christian,
started with the roses
and then well, that's
are
the only
red,
thing
and you
I could
couldn't finish
remember.
it. Yeah.
I just did it on the fly.
Ode to Rhyme and Simon, January 4th, 2021. When I write poems, there's lots of rhymes, a sign I'm told of olden times. Without the rhyme, it doesn't feel right. Hate to admit it, but I could be uptight. What's known today as poetry seems to me to be mediocrity. Yes, it's full of emotion, but it reads like a commotion. Add some rhythm or rhyme. No, it's not. Add some rhythm to your rhyme. No, it's not needed on every line. Just give it some jazz and it'll make you feel fine. If you want to write prose, you can do it, I suppose. But to call it poetry is some kind of mystery. Now, the no rhyme style has been around forever and a day. Looks like it's going to forever stay. It's hard to find a rhyming word to write. My, what a sad plight. Yet by Google, you can look or you can buy a rhyming book. So now I've got it off my chest. Not saying my way is best. Because when you go to a bookstore, there's not much rhyming poetry on the floor. There's all the
Yeah.
bleeding prose, and
Well,
they call it rhyme and whatever. But
you
if you
you
like it, you do. If you
you
don't,
should
you
think
don't.
about. I know I always say this to you, but or things like this, but a calendar, one of those little desk calendars of your
Yeah,
great poets,
yeah.
poetry and poems, or a green card. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the talent. You've written a book. Why not make it a other things you could do? Sonia's got me
Yeah.
for several years in a row. The Thoughts of a Dog, and it's not a
Right.
poem, but it's thoughts of a dog. Like literally, what this person thinks dogs think of. I've been getting it. I love it. I wouldn't want my desk wouldn't be my desk without that.
Another project to enter into
Yeah,
in my
exactly.
contented retired life.
Exactly. All right,
Today in history.
Sammy.
Here we go.
We got Sammy.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Sammy.
We got Pier 7 Juicy Seafood and Bar there, Jeff.
We like it juicy.
If you love seafood, Pier 7 is the way to go. Located on I-35, about 10 minutes north of Waxahachie, you will not miss their big Pier 7 sign. They are in a popular area, they have great service with a fun bar, and of course have outstanding food. They have great deals like spend $30 and get 12 calamari, spend $50 and get one order of egg rolls, spend $100 and get a free order of shrimp fried rice. If you find yourself wanting some great seafood, head over to Pier 7 Lancaster.
Go get you
Very
some.
good.
Go
Thank you,
get you
Sam.
some. Okay. Today in history,
How'd you do?
I was 8-2 on 8 of them. I got 2 bonuses which helped me because we've been having tough ones early, as you
We
know.
have. I've been getting
Coming
my
out the
butt
gate is
kicked,
tough.
man.
Because I'll tell you, almost every one lately, they're giving us something about an English king.
Yeah, what's with that?
And we don't even know if it's in the 14th, 15th, 16th, or 17th century. But in this case, it's England's King Charles the First. I couldn't believe this guy was from this date that he was the first ever. He was executed for high treason.
1414.
1413.
1649.
Dadgummit.
I mean, can you believe they never had a Charles until the
Yeah.
1600s? Here we go.
That's weird.
During World War II, a Soviet submarine torpedoed the German ship M.W. Wilhelm Gustloff in the Baltic. How was that German?
That was good.
In the
That was good.
Baltic Sea, killing over 9,000, most of them war refugees. Roughly 1,000 people survived. Now, bear in mind, it was in January, and that had to be cold, cold water in the Baltic Sea. Maybe those people that survived must have been on the boat. They couldn't have been in the water.
Yeah,
Here we go.
That's brutal.
It was during World War II.
1847.
What?
It was in World War II.
1946.
That helped him.
It helped him.
1943.
45.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh.
That's
I
funny.
got it mixed up.
I got this wrong, and I felt bad about this. Indian politician and spiritual leader Mohandas K. Gandhi, age 78, was shot and killed in New Delhi by Nathuram, Nathuram, Nathuram Godse, Godse, a Hindu extremist,
Gandhi. Yeah.
age 78.
79.
1979. 1939.
I went your way. I said 1978 at age 78. It was 1948.
Missed it.
You went.
I missed it by that much.
The last date was. You
Forty-
went. You went down.
Yeah.
What was the last date?
45.
Yeah.
Oh, can I change my answer?
I'm sorry.
No.
Stupidity is not rewarded in this game. Here we go. The Tet Offensive.
Oh, look, Terry got it right.
There you go.
Right on, Terry.
The Tet Offensive began during the Vietnam War as communist forces launched surprise attacks against South Vietnamese towns and cities. That was big, the Tet Offensive.
1970.
1971.
1968.
Sammy's he's
If
hitting points.
If you would wait, I'd say my answer. But
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, we
I'll wait.
tried to engineer
I'll
that
wait.
out,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you got
I'll wait.
impetuous like a little
I'll
boy.
wait. Yeah.
The Beatles staged an unannounced concert atop Apple Corp's headquarters in London that would be their last public appearance.
what was last date?
68.
88.
John Lennon died in 80. 77.
69. Last public appearance. I struggled with that one
Wow.
too. I had
So we had two in the same year? No,
No,
68.
68 and
Oh,
69.
tricky.
All right.
I lost that one too.
Harry said 82.
Did he get it right? What was the year? What was the year?
69.
69. And by
sorry,
the way,
Terry.
we have a bonus coming on this one. This is a chance to
I'm
shine
ready.
with a bonus. 13 Catholic civil rights marchers were killed and shot by British soldiers in Northern Ireland on what became known as blank.
Something Bloody Day. I don't know.
Yeah, I went Bloody Friday. It was Bloody Sunday.
Oh,
I knew it was a.
Yeah,
yeah,
I had the
would not have
bloody,
known
but
that.
Yes.
on a Sunday.
Yeah.
On a big a Sunday.
That would have been
94.
89.
72.
Lord, I am getting
We're
crushed.
barely going up in years here.
All right, here's a couple.
Mr. Fritz, my history teacher in high school, would not be very happy.
Okay, guys, do me a favor. Think closely about these two.
Think closely. How do you think closely?
You close your eyes for one.
Think closely.
I've heard of think hard,
Okay.
think intently. I never heard think closely.
Okay. Do it hard and intently. And I'd like you to each pick up a bonus on these last
I
two.
need it.
Okay. President Donald Trump fired acting U.S. Attorney General Sally Yates after she publicly questioned the constitutionality of his controversial refugee and immigration ban and refused to defend it in court.
2018.
2019.
I was gonna say that. Give it to me, Jeff.
2017. But you know,
Sammy?
I struggled on that. I said, well, the election's 16. He came in 17.
Yeah.
I mean, did he get on that right away?
I didn't think
he had
so.
to get.
I thought it was towards the end of
Yeah,
his
I
thing.
didn't think so.
Well, we got it right, though.
All right,
in
but
terms-
you got it right, but you didn't get the
No,
bone
we
eye. Here we
didn't.
go. We close with health officials reported the first known case in which the new coronavirus was spread from one person to the other in the United States.
That would be.
We've had a similar question.
I know
to this
that
before.
this has got to be 2020 because it started somewhere. They found it somewhere else in 19.
You're a
What?
smart,
Read it again. Read it
you're a
again.
smart young man. Health officials reported the first known case in which the new coronavirus was spread from one person to another in the United States.
Okay, that's a good point right there at the end. 2020.
2020. Way to think closely.
Oh, yeah, that means
Closely and intensely.
4. You had 9,
Boom.
8, and 2. You
8
must
and
have won a
2.
bonus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Very good. I love it. Loving history. So
yeah, back-to-back bonus at the end. They salvaged it for me.
Love it.
awesome. So next week we're going to talk a little bit more about the Iron Dome. I think you will really enjoy that. Particularly those of you that care about defense of America. We're going to talk about our tax system and what may very well be happening, because that too is exciting with respect to all these years we've heard about we need tax reform. We need tax reform.
Right.
Well, like we hear we need border reform or border policy or whatever. And nobody ever does anything.
Right.
I think that's the other thing about Trump. He's
Get it done.
he's gonna get it done. He's gonna get it
Right.
done. He wants to go down with a great
That's
legacy.
right. Well, I'm on a very short leash, so let's close 1 minute early.
Why? You got a date?
Yeah, I got a 1:15
Oh,
appointment.
you better hurry up.
Yeah.
All right, Sammy, you got to put my thing up because I didn't bring me a copy. But
Oh, you mean
the
get your meme in? Get your
meme of the day. Sammy, tell me when it's up.
It's up.
Tips on how to fall asleep in a living room chair. Be old, sit in the chair. That's it for me. I can do it. All right, so
I didn't need any of those tips, and I was doing it before I was old. But
yeah, me too.
yeah, not to be packing up my bag here, but
Terry's got a date.
remember
I mean,
this.
Terry,
Remember this.
yeah.
Don't forget. Don't write a check you can't cash. Boom.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.